To let go and to see through that illusion can be really scary, and it can be really confusing because it's like letting go of everything we have thought ourselves to know about reality. So to let go of the ego is to first of all see that clearly, that this is what's going on. What the hell have I been doing my entire life? I've been chasing something in the future in the belief that I will fulfill myself, only to end up unhappy, suffering. The click that we expect will happens when we stop expecting a click to happen. How am I working to overcome my ego, to let go of being attached to egoic desires and to really kill off the ego? I'm gonna tell you everything that I do in this video, but first of all I want to say that we don't want to get rid of the ego. It's nothing to get rid of because it doesn't exist. It's kind of paradoxical. The ego works as a guard in between ourselves and how we perceive the world and how we perceive ourselves. It's really a combination between our self-image and our worldview, we could say. And anything that is against our self-image or worldview, we will feel maybe offended by, we will get scared of, we will feel threatened by, and we will feel the need to assert ourselves why my worldview or self-image is correct. The ego is really the guard that makes sure that these things stay intact, that my thoughts are true, that my emotions are true, that everything that I have been through in my life, all experiences, all the content, all the traumas, all the insecurities, all the fears, everything, that all of these are actually real. The ego is the thing in us that wants to identify with all of these things. And to let go of the ego, to let go and to see through that illusion, can be really scary, and it can be really confusing because it's like letting go of everything we have thought ourselves to know about reality. We believe that all of these things that I have lived through, all my thoughts, all my knowledge, all of these things are true, but they're not necessarily true. They're just thoughts that we have lived through, that we have picked up from other people. So killing off the ego means that we see through that illusion. We're not getting rid of anything, because that in us which wants to get rid of something from our life is the ego. And so we're not doing that because if we're trying to get rid of the ego, we're using the ego to try and get rid of itself. So that is not the goal. And even labeling it as a goal, even that it comes from the ego. There's something that I need to do or change or get somewhere else than here in the now that will take me further into something. I will be more enlightened. I will be more liberated. I will be more something, right? This whole mechanism, believing that there's something to get outside of the present moment that is more beneficial for me, that is the whole aspect of the ego. The seeking, the seeker, the doer, the needing to do something to prove myself all the time. That is the activity that I'm talking about. And what it's like to get rid of that, first of all, we have to face everything that the ego has started to deny. That our mind is telling us that I can't feel this is unsafe, I'm not supposed to feel this way. All of those things that we have accumulated over our lives, usually from childhood or upbringing, that has caused immense pain. We have made promises with ourselves then that I'm never supposed to feel this way ever again. I'm not going to allow myself to feel this ever again. And when we do that, we create this void in ourselves. It's like an agreement, a contract we make with ourselves that this pain that I have is not okay. And I need to prove myself worthy in the world to try and get rid of this pain, this sensation that I am lacking something, or that I am unworthy, that I'm not enough as I am, that I'm not lovable, whatever. I need to achieve certain things or get certain things outside of the now. We're looking in the world for these things so that I can make myself feel good again, so that I don't have to feel this pain. So what I do to really kill the ego, if I use that term loosely, it's really killing the identity that we have about ourselves, that we hold against ourselves. I am this person, I have this pain, and I need to move towards these things in the external world, goals, achievements, destinations, to make myself feel worthy, to not feel this pain anymore, to make myself feel good on the inside. All of our driving forces that we have established, I'm driven for success, for example, they will most often come from the ego's belief that it can fulfill itself, that it can heal this accumulated pain from our upbringing by attaining things in the world. So, of course, when we have an ego death, of course it's going to be confusing. Of course it's going to feel hopeless. Of course it's going to feel meaningless or lack of drive, lack of direction. Because everything we have thought ourselves to be this drive. I am this. This is me. I am this success. I am this drive towards more knowledge or more relationships or whatever it is. When we learn that this is not who I am, I have given false meaning to all of these things that I have been driven towards for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years sometimes. This is not who I am. It will feel like our entire world falls apart. And that's okay. That's a part of the process. Of course, it will feel meaningless and hopeless and directionless for a little bit. That's okay. But it means that we're establishing ourselves in a more authentic way of being that is not reliant on external achievements or circumstances in the world to be a certain way for us to feel good about ourselves, for us to be okay on the inside. And I think that's what we all long for. We all long for this sensation of just like, finally, I can finally rest. Resting here, right? We all want that, but the problem is that we look for this sensation in worldly objects, destinations, achievements, relationships, etc. We're looking for this sensation of complete relief, of I'm supported, I'm good, I don't need anything else now, I can rest here. We're all seeking that. We're all seeking that peace and relief, but we're looking for it in the wrong direction. And that's what the ego is. The ego is this activity that is seeking all of these things all the time in the external world, in the future. The past has been painful, and I need to move away from a painful past and move towards a better future. So it creates hope around things that I need these things to make myself feel good again. Or fear, worst case scenario, right? I need to make sure that these things don't happen so I don't get reminded of this pain that I have in me. That is really the job that the ego is doing. It's trying to keep us safe. It's trying to protect us from past pain, to not relive those painful memories and traumas and insecurities and fears that we have been through in our life. So to let go of the ego is to first of all see that clearly, that this is what's going on. I have been stuck in an endless loop in my life, running from emotions and feelings and sensations in my body that I have accumulated, and it's been there since I was a child. And I've been trying to get rid of this sensation that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough as I am, I have all this pain. And I've been driven towards different desires that has caused me to hurt myself or hurt other people, and I seem to attract the same scenario, the same situations in life all the time, and I can't seem to understand what's happening. I'm driven by lust, or I'm driven by success, or I'm driven by all of these things to make myself feel something more, unaware that the pain that is causing this drive is the entire thing. Of course, the ego is looking away from the pain because it doesn't want to feel the pain. We don't want to feel the pain. We don't want to feel worthless or hopeless or pointless or meaningless. We don't want to feel these things. So when we actually allow ourselves to go into these sensations 100%, like actually go into them and rest there, we can ask ourselves, what does the part in me feel like that is completely terrified of being worthless? What does that part feel like? We will actually take the mind and use it against itself. We will point our attention towards the pain that we are so driven to get rid of in the world. But of course, we're doing it wrong. If we want to live free from that pain, it would make sense if we would become comfortable feeling that pain. And I'm not saying this is easy. Killing your old self or killing this version of yourself that has been driving you up to this point, that has been working, but all of a sudden now you realize that it's not working, it makes you suffer. It will be challenging. This pain is not going out without a fight. But it is the only battle we will ever win by giving up. When we give up the need to fight this pain, we actually find everything that we have been looking for in the world. We find this sense of completion. We find this sense of relief. You will understand that this is everything I've always wanted. I don't need to rely on external circumstances or things to be a certain way for me to be good on the inside. I'm actually okay regardless of what happens in the external world. I'm okay regardless of my achievements or relationships or destinations or whatever goals I have or whatever cars I buy or whatever house I have. I'm fine regardless. And so when we learn to let go of the old self, when we learn to kill the ego, we will be driven from a place of fulfillment already. We will not expect fulfillment to come from the external world, from achieving things, because we already are enough. We already have everything we need. And so attracting things from this place of fulfillment is going to be, first of all, so much more fun and so much easier. It's not going to be a struggle anymore because we're not expecting something magical to happen just because we have achieved something. We will realize that I am exactly the same now as I am if I would have won $1 billion on the lottery. I'm exactly the same. Gratitude feels the same. Love feels the same. Freedom feels the same. Success feels the same. Peace feels the same. All the emotions will stay the same. I will stay exactly the same. I'm not expecting myself to become myself 2.0 just because I've achieved all my goals and everything. And seeing through this, like I said, might feel kind of hopeless, might be feeling like we're losing direction. It's like, what the hell have I been doing my entire life? I've been chasing something in the future in the belief that I will fulfill myself, only to end up unhappy, suffering. What do I do now? It's like, of course it's going to be feeling hopeless for a while. The first thing to kill the ego or to kill the old self is to first see that this entire thing that's been driving us for as long as we can remember is the enemy. And not even that is the enemy. We actually want to integrate that part and see that part clearly and love that part of ourselves. Nothing is the enemy. I'm just using that term. First of all, see that clearly and then see what has been the underlying factor of driving us to pursue certain things. That has been driving us to give meaning to certain things that has no meaning, really. For me, it's taken a very long time to see this clearly. It's taken a very long time to have the courage to go into everything that is making me super uncomfortable. Deep shame, for example, very uncomfortable to sit with. To acknowledge that for the first time. Oh, I have been driven in relationships, for example, from a place of deep shame, feeling unworthy. I've been craving validation and recognition from people because I haven't been feeling like I am worthy or good enough as I am. So all of these things are obviously very heavy, but imagine that they are stuck in here. They will be here regardless if you take a look at them or not, right? And they're so heavy and they run our lives. And they have been running our lives for all our lives, right? Since childhood, since we first felt that sensation of unworthiness or shame. Maybe from a parent or from friends or from school, whatever. This pain is driving all our decisions, all our current pursuits in life, because we think that we will get rid of this pain by doing something. And that's the thing. We don't need to do anything. The doing, the need to do, the need to strive, the need to seek, the need to prove myself comes from this accumulated pain. So an ego death, killing the old self, means that we let go of all of this. It means that we become a clean blank slate. It means that we will start finding meaning on the inside, coming from deep authenticity and truth. And when that happens, we will start to strive for more important things, actual meaningful things. And that is going to take our lives into a direction that we wouldn't have been able to dream of. And it's the best thing in the world. But it can be painful. It can be confusing. And I think that's why it's so important that we come together during this time, because I know that there are a lot of people waking up right now. I know that there are a lot of people waking up from this whole identity of who we think ourselves to be. This ego, this thing that's constantly trying to fulfill itself and prove itself worthy in the world, right? That is waking up. We see that this entire mechanism of seeking something, of thinking that the present moment is not enough, that I need to move away from something or move towards something. We recognize that this is not who we are. This is not who I am. Who am I then? If I have lived my entire life like this, who am I, right? And we start asking these questions. So it's nothing special. An ego death is nothing special. It's nothing, it's not some grandiose experience. Of course, it will create a expansive sort of emotional states, for sure. It can definitely do that. And bliss and feeling oneness and feeling freedom and peace and all that. But these things will sort of settle after a while. They will become our natural sort of state. So I understand that looking at an ego death and looking at these, people talking about freedom and oneness and love and everything can sound absolutely exotic and awesome and extraordinary. And it is from an egoic point of view, because the ego is so used to suffering, so used to misery and working hard and needing to prove and feeling unworthy, that looking at these expansive states from the ego seems like it's the most incredible thing ever. But it's not anything special. All we're really doing is that we're becoming comfortable with everything that we absolutely don't want to feel in our life. Everything that we have avoided ever since we were kids. That is the whole process. When that happens, we may start to feel so much more spacious on the inside, because all of these things like shame and fear and guilt and unworthiness have been like knots in the nervous system, and they have been so, it's been so stuck in there. And what I have experienced doing this type of work is that I've felt almost like carbon dioxide in the nervous system. It's like, it moves up like this, and it like untangles itself after a while. But it will take some time. So it's very important that we are patient with ourselves and compassionate with ourselves, that we are doing this work for a reason. And we're not doing this work for anyone else than ourselves. We're doing this work for ourselves. We're not trying to heal to impress someone, or we're not stuck in this healing trap or constant need to improve ourselves so that we can get more recognition. No. We use it as tools so that we can live more freely, so that we can attract things that is more authentic and true and resonating with who we are. That's why we do this type of work. So I want you to think that if you are awakening and if you're striving towards ego death or killing the old self or creating a new identity, there's nothing you need to do except to turn the headlights and your attention inward towards your pain. Why do you want to achieve certain things? Why are you driven towards certain relationships? Or why are you addicted to certain things? It comes from pain. And when we're able to localize this pain and able to go into this pain and untangle this pain and feel the nervous system untangling itself, we will start to live more in ease. And we will recognize that, oh, I haven't reacted in a while. I haven't been angry in a very long time. I haven't suffered in a while. I never stress anymore. I never worry about things anymore. That's kind of cool, I guess. So it's not anything special, and we're not expecting a click to happen either. The click that we expect will happens when we stop expecting a click to happen. That is the click that we're seeking. It's really just recognizing that there's pain in here. First of all, start with that. Learn to feel shame, learn to feel guilt, learn to feel things that you want to avoid the most in life. What it feels like to be absolutely weak, for example. Learn to feel that. Why are we so scared of these things, right? Because obviously if you have things on the inside that we're not comfortable with, how are we supposed to be liberated from that? We won't, right? So that is an ego death. It's learning to see reality free from all this pain, free from conditioning, free from all these opinions and beliefs that we have thought ourselves to be. We actually see through the illusion, and we learn to see reality for what it actually is. We see life clearly. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. I want to hear about your story as well, so please like and comment if you want to. Subscribe as well. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.